Here I go, here I go, here I go. Yeah, here I go, here I go, here I go.
Before we get into today's episode of the pod, you guys have to subscribe because I'm looking at you and you're not subscribed to the channel yet. And you have to hit the notification bell because you're not going to know when I post if you don't have notifications when I post. Make sure to like the video, you guys, so I know you guys are enjoying these episodes. Make sure to follow my social medias. I will pop them on the screen so you can stay up to date with everything to do with this podcast. And then don't forget to check out the Spotify version. The link will be in the description for that as well. Finally, I am a sports writer, so make sure to check out the take.sport.blog so you can read the best sports articles ever. You will not regret clicking that link, so make sure to click that link below. But let's go ahead and get into today's pod, you guys. All right, guys, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Take Podcast. I'm your host, of course, Jackson Burleson. In today's episode, I got my boy Mike right here.
What's up?
Here to talk some finals hoops with me. Appreciate you taking the time to be on the podcast with me today.
I appreciate you having me. It's an honor, and I'm looking forward to diving into this conversation.
So, as you guys know, I have not had anything to say about my Heat loss yet, but here's what I've got to say. And it's going to come shocking to a lot of people, but it's just the Nuggets were so good. They were clearly the better team. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we got to go the positive route here. The Heat barely even made the playoffs. We lost our first playing game to the Hawks.
Number 8.
Bad. Like, we lost, and then we almost lost to the Bulls to not even get into the postseason. Then we're playing the number 1 seed Bucks, and we're like, okay, well, our season's done. And then we beat him in 5 games. Jimmy has like 4 40-point games, 1 50-point game. I'm just like, okay, maybe we can actually do something this year. Because during the regular season, we were the slowest team in the NBA. Number 1 because of Tyler Hero. I think we should trade him.
Oh,
that is just my opinion.
Oh, you're crazy on that. I'm cutting you off on that. How are you going to trade Hero? And I'm all for, moving on players, but Hero, if he, oh no, he's.
Well,
I keep him.
I can give you 2 reasons. Number 1, Hero dribbles too much. Okay. So he slows the pace of the game down. Like in the postseason without Hero, we literally proved that we did not need him at all. Like we did not need him at all. And the second reason is because like he's very ball dominant and he needs the ball in his hands and there's no ball movement. There's no kicking it to the corner. There's no swinging it around the perimeter, which really affects players like Gabe Vincent or even Duncan Robinson, because Duncan Robinson doesn't really benefit from just standing around. He just benefits from cutting and getting layups around the basket. So like,
I'll give you that one, but let me ask you this then real quick. It's kind of like 2 years ago when Ja Morant wasn't playing. Memphis technically played better, but are you going to really say they were better without him? That's how I think it is with Hero. Maybe statistically this year or this moment, but I think overall you need him.
The thing for me is like I want us to trade Hero, but it's like if we trade Hero for a player like Damian Lillard, like I just don't think the Blazers are. I just don't think the Blazers are going to take that. I think they would want like Bam Adebayo, which
I would do it.
We're not gonna. I don't think we should give up Bam.
I don't think so either, but. There's very few players where I would say I would mortgage the future, risk it all, and Damian Lillard is one of them. I mean, he's called Dame Time for a reason.
But if we give up Bam, we have no size at all.
Oh, I agree. So you would need to correct that hypothetically. I don't know who's out there who you would.
We would have, I mean, there's a free agent, Kristaps Porzingis. We could get him. He spaces the floor.
From my old New York stomping grounds, even though I'm not a Knicks fan. Yeah.
I'm sorry you guys bailed on him. You guys shouldn't have done that. But
yeah, I'm not a Knicks fan, so I laughed all about it. People got mad. I was constantly posting negative about it, just pissed people off a little bit.
But Heat Nation, I understand. I had to gather my emotions because I was very, very angry. I was very, very angry. I didn't know how to express my emotions by saying Jimmy Butler, this, he didn't play well, which is true. I mean, he only averaged 21 points per game in that series, and the entire postseason, he was averaging like 30. A lot. He did disappear. And my thing is like, I understand like you want to let the game come to you. You want to be patient, but at times I feel like he was being too patient.
Agreed.
And he was kind of stalling a little bit.
Agreed. And there, a few years ago when he missed the wide open three for the buzzer beater, I was all good for him taking that shot, even missing, because you're the superstar. It's your team. You go for it. But where was that this postseason a little bit in the
It was
finals?
only really in the first round. I feel like when against the Bucks, like he knew, like, okay,
he
Giannis
showed
is
up.
on the other side.
Yeah.
Like he's obviously the best player in the world. Like you have to win that series, and he has to do everything. And he did that. And I feel like after that, he just like, I mean, we played the Knicks, which honestly are not that great of a team, but neither were the Heat. Like we're an 8 seed. Like this is one of the greatest postseason runs like
Ever.
any team will ever have.
100%.
Like we have 7 undrafted players. Like there's nothing that you can say that championship would have been nice, but it's not a disappointing season.
I won't say disappointing because, like you said, one of the best seasons. Not only that, but I don't even count the 1999 Knicks when they went to the finals as the 8th seed because it was the lockout year. To me, the Miami Heat are the first real ones to do it, and they lost a playing game. Like
Yeah,
you said,
that's the craziest part.
The moment you lose a playing game, everyone thinks you're done. I thought they were done. Everyone thought they were done. I don't know about you because you're
No,
a Heat fan.
I definitely thought we were done because like during the regular season, I mean, we just weren't that team. We were 2 completely different teams.
100%. And then against the Celtics, being up 3-0.
And then we almost lost it. I swear to you guys, like if we blew that 3-1 series lead, a 3-0 lead, I would have lost my.
I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see history at that point. As a Yankee fan and New Yorker, you would think I hate Boston Celtics. I respect them. Don't hate them at all. So I just wanted to see history at that point. So I'm glad for your sake you didn't see it because that would have, you would have lost your mind.
Well, everyone a part of
probably
Heat
would-
Nation knows that we hate the Celtics.
Exactly. So I'm sure if that happened, you probably would still be, not doing this right now. Still processing it.
So what's your take on the finals? I mean, obviously you can't ignore how great Jokic was.
Oh,
In game 1 of the finals, in the first quarter, I do not forget this. He had 2 points and 8 assists, and we're still down by 15. And he wasn't scoring.
he is just an animal. I had predicted them in 5 on my podcast. So I'm glad I got that one right. But yeah, it's just the way he commands the field, even like you said, when he's not scoring, the way he gets others to contribute, I haven't seen in a very long time. Maybe never the way he does.
I mean, his IQ is just so high. Like his knowledge for the game is just, it's like no other player. Like he knows exactly where that player is going to be 5 seconds before he cuts. Like it's like
100%,
LeBron,
yeah.
like LeBron's playmaking ability. Like he knows exactly where a guy is going to be way before he's even in that spot, which is something that only the great ones have.
Exactly. It's IQ and it's, maybe practice. Maybe he's that special breed that's like, yo, let's practice. Let's run this up again. But it's definitely a mentality. He has that mental where it's not about me, it's about them. And that's what I think really makes him special.
And he's got the perfect co-star, Jamal Murray. He's
Oh.
Those two are a perfect combination.
100%. I'm convinced they would have won in the bubble if Jamal Murray averaging like 50-something points a game for a few games.
Yeah, he did that like crazy like up and under like layup when he was like midair. Like
I think they would have
won.
won the finals that year. So I was really glad to see them. I know you're a Heat fan, but to see Jamal Murray, because he's one of my favorite players, he's quickly become a favorite player of mine. Just animal.
The thing about the Nuggets is like they are a great offensive rebounding team, but in general they're a great rebounding team. Like you saw against the Lakers in the conference finals, they were out rebounding them nonstop. Like the Lakers could not get any rebounds. All 4 of those games were close. Even though the Lakers got swept, all 4 of those games were close, and the Lakers were right there. But the Nuggets just knew how to close out games. They had so many guys they could go to, like Bruce Brown, Braun stepped up like as a rookie.
Yeah.
Porter, Aaron Gordon flies up, gets rebounds. Then Jamal Murray would just hit a step back 3 in the clutch. Like there's just nothing you could do about that. And same with Jokic. He was hitting shots that I don't think he'll ever hit in any postseason
that one corner when the buzzer beater and he just threw it up.
Yeah, like I mean, he's right there, and you can't really do anything about it. Like you got Anthony Davis right in front of your face.
Mm-hmm.
He just chucks it up and he makes it. I'm just like, he will never have a postseason like that where he's going to make shots like that.
And I hate comparing, players from different eras and different positions, but I just saw it 2 days ago, them comparing Jokic's season with Larry Bird in '84, which I actually think is the single best team I've ever seen, the 1984 Celtics. So it was really interesting. At first, I was laughing. I was like, come on, get out of here. Two different eras, two different positions. But the fact that his numbers were so close and just rebounding, points, it's just everything. I'm just like, yeah, I got to give it to him. He just had an historically great postseason.
And he got his ring. I mean,
He did.
he got his ring. He got his finals MVP. He should have been MVP.
I was
Embiid
just
should
going to
have
say,
won.
he should have been a 3-time MVP. They didn't want to give it to him. I was just going to tie that. Because
didn't
of
want
Larry Bird. Larry Bird got
I don't think it was
three
because
peats.
of Larry Bird. I just think
Well-
they felt bad because Embiid's been up to par to be MVP the last couple of years, and then they're like, he's averaging 33 points per game. I mean, you kind of have to give it to him at that point. But
I don't know. When I watched him, he's great, but I didn't see an MVP.
his game doesn't translate well in the postseason, though.
Exactly.
He gets clamped up pretty easily. Like, teams know how to defend him pretty easily.
I don't think
because
he really has that drive to want to win. I'm not saying they all want to win when you get there, but he doesn't have that next that
That's
Black
hard to
Mamba
say.
mentality where Kobe's going to go crazy or Michael Jordan or Jokic is like, no, we're going to get this. Where I don't see that from Embiid. I think he plays.
I agree. He plays a
Yeah.
little soft at times.
Yes.
Like there's because he's the biggest guy on the
I feel
court.
like he coasts at times. He's like, okay, we're here. We are. We either got it or we don't.
When you got the Sixers relying on like Tyrese Maxey to get you 30, Tyrese Maxey's a great player,
Yeah, but when
but
you're
he's
relying
not
on that,
your first.
he's not your
option.
number one. Yeah.
Maybe in a couple years he can get to that level, but like not right now. And then you got James Harden, who he's inconsistent like crazy. Like he had 2 40-point games in the Celtics series,
which surprised me
and then
so
he just
much.
drops.
Yep.
Like, I don't get it. Like, I really don't understand it. And I know his game's changed. He's upset. Like,
I never
he's
thought
not
I'd
a
see that
scorer,
again,
but-
though. A 40-point postseason game from him.
No,
And I'm not a big James Harden fan. So the fact that I'm giving him praise for it, not one but two. One, okay, is a fluke night, but two. So you're right that.
Do you
there was
think
no-
Harden should stay as a Sixer?
I would say yes because he I don't want to use the word success, but he at least had some two flashy big moments. But I don't know. I've never had faith with Harden. After he left OKC, before I really knew who he was, sixth man, I never believed. To me, he's never going to win. Even in his prime, I said it every year. Nope, they're not going to win. They're not going to win. And so I guess he could say the 76ers. To me, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but I don't think he adds any real. If you're a contending team or trying to win now, I don't think it adds any value as a starter.
I think
should say.
I think him not adding any value, I think that's a little overstepping because his playmaking ability, the way he gets his teammates involved, like that's the way his game is now. Like he averages like 10 assists a game in his sleep. Like, and he's done that the last 4 years. Even though when he was scoring like 30 points a game in Houston, he was still the distributor because Chris Paul couldn't stay on the court, which has been a common theme in Chris Paul's career. Which
Yes.
I'm glad he's in Washington. He doesn't deserve to be in Phoenix, but I really don't think that team with Bradley Beal, Booker, and Durant are going to win. I'm
Me
just going to
neither.
say that right
It's-
now. I don't think they're going to win.
They're offensively great. Where's no defense. Where's they still don't have a
They
good
have
bench.
no point guard.
Yeah, they don't have a bench. You need depth. I mean, look at we just said with the Nuggets. They had depth. Any person could.
And so did the Heat. The Heat had
Yes, both teams can contribute from any player, anytime, any position. And the Suns are doing the same mistake they just did. Let's just have a big three. And it's different when Durant was on the Warriors because one, their scoring was different. Like Booker, don't get me wrong, he's a phenomenal, but he's not a catch and shooter. Where Clay and Steph were, they can catch and shoot at any time. These guys need the ball in their hands for even for a second or two.
But Beal's a catch and shoot. I feel like he can go into that role.
He definitely helps. I mean, I wanted Beal to go in the Warriors. I really wanted it to happen.
I just, you know what? It's just like Kevin Durant for me. Like he's the most talented player in the NBA, but he doesn't make his teammates better.
Exactly. And when are we going to start saying maybe their narratives should start changing for Durant? Think about how many Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers he's played with, and all-stars.
Westbrook, Harden, Kyrie, James Harden,
Clay,
Steph,
Draymond.
and he's only got 2 rings.
I know. It's insane. And you have Devin Booker.
Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
Are they going to keep Ayton? I think Ayton wants out.
I think so, too.
I don't think that's going to work.
Ibaka, that's what I was just trying to think of before. Everyone always forgets about Ibaka back in the day.
I don't know if Ibaka's a Hall of Famer though.
No, yeah, I don't know. But he, at the time, though, he was all-star balling it out.
So speaking, so I wanted to touch on this because I've been on my TikTok. I've had GOAT debates with people. People say, "Oh, is it LeBron or Jordan?" No, I think it should be, is it Kobe or Jordan? Skip past LeBron. Just put Kobe in that conversation. LeBron's in his own league. We all know how great LeBron is. He's not similar to Michael and Kobe.
No, he's not.
He's in a class of his own, but I think before you can start saying LeBron is better than Jordan, I think you need to say, is Kobe better than Jordan?
Okay, so Kobe Bryant's my favorite player of all time. And I agree. I would take Kobe over LeBron in any situation, almost any stage of his career, just because of that. Yeah, give me the effing ball. The whole world knows it. I'm gonna take the shot, win or lose. However, though, I gotta switch it up on here. I don't have either as the GOAT. I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. With that sky hook. And let me add a little more.
That's respectable. I can't really disrespect.
It's not blasphemy, but the only reason why is compared to all the other sports, the NBA captures everything. They capture high school, college, the NBA. So when you add all that into a factor, I'm not saying Jordan and Kobe don't have that, but I mean the guy won everywhere with 6 championships, 6 MVPs, just still recently the most scoring. I mean, they made in the NCAA, they outlawed dunking because he was so dominant. They couldn't. I don't remember the years, but if you look into it, before Kareem changed his name, they were not allowed dunking, and that's where the skyhook came from. So he's the one unbeatable move, and he still won championships. The guy to me has just the perfect resume. And then again, when he was in high school, I mean, he was bigger than everyone. But even still, that's why they got rid of dunking because, okay, he was so dominant. That's not fair.
I mean, my GOAT is Jordan, just because, I think he's the best player offensively and defensively to ever step on a court. He could guard his position. He averaged 2 steals per game one season in his career. He won Defensive Player of the Year.
A couple of times he won Defensive Player, right?
He only won it once.
Oh, okay. That was a couple.
Because they were saying he couldn't play defense, and then he goes and wins Defensive Player of the Year. Just like they said he can shoot the 3-ball, and he goes and hits 10 threes against the Blazers in the finals. Anytime you tell Mike he can't do something, he's going to do it.
That's what I was going to say. Naming Jordan is not a bad answer. He's an all-time great. The only thing is,
I just can't stand it when people say LeBron.
Me neither.
It just angers me so much because their only argument is, he played the Warriors.
Yeah. And speaking of that, is when Michael Jordan was winning championships no one had more championships than him. On LeBron's watch, Tim Duncan's got 5, or you want to say at least 3.
You want to say at least
Bill
3. Russell.
Oh yeah, but just under LeBron, at least he got Tim Duncan was playing before him. He got 3 on LeBron's watch. Stephen Curry has 4.
No one really got any chips on Jordan's watch.
Exactly.
And the 2 ones that Hakeem has, they count, but
if Jordan's
in the league, he would have won.
My man, that's why I've been arguing that forever. I don't even think they get those if Jordan's playing.
I think Jordan wins 8 in a row.
No. Absolutely. The two between, and I knew I was forgetting Kobe. Kobe won during LeBron's run too.
Yeah, he won
in 2009.
He won twice. He won
2 back-to-back
and 2010.
Yeah.
And Kobe. This is why I put Kobe second all time, is because he made Pau Gasol a Hall of Fame.
100%. I mean, remember the All-Star game when everyone's got to know this story. So it was United States. I don't remember where Pau Gasol is from.
Yeah, when he shoved Pau Gasol. He's I'm going to hit him in the chest.
I know the play in the first. I'm going to rock him. Yeah. And he knocked him on his effing ass. Yeah. But it was awesome. And then even Pau Gasol said, I wasn't mad. He goes, and LeBron was like, but that's your brother. He ain't my brother today. We're on different teams.
Who do you think has more of which mentality are you taking? Jordan or Kobe's mentality? Very similar, but I feel like Kobe's a little competitive.
Agreed.
They were both a-holes, though. Let's not dispute that. Yeah.
I will take Kobe's only because I think I've seen. I don't want to say. I don't know the word, but we saw Michael Jordan lose to the Magic and lose to.
But that's when he came back from being away from the game for about 2 seasons.
Yeah, but I think...
And he was rusty. He was wearing number 45.
Well, yeah, I don't think it was obviously his play, but I think his mindset was a little different there.
He wasn't really conditioned. I mean, he was tired. You could tell, like watching those series,
Oh,
he was
yeah.
tired because
Totally-
he hadn't played a whole NBA season.
Totally
He's
different
gassed.
player. I just think, well, looking back at that in a weird way, his mindset hurt him. He just boom, though I can bounce back. But I don't think even if Kobe ever left for 2 years, I don't think his mind would have ever changed. I don't know.
No, it didn't even change when he was horrible in his last season. And he
Exactly.
dropped 60. He was still
Exactly.
scoring the
So,
ball every single time.
If you're asking me that question, it's such nitpick. I mean, I have to pick something to answer the question. So I'll go with Kobe. Just 51-49 different. That little one.
So is there any way LeBron can be the GOAT?
In my opinion, no. I'll tell you right now.
He's got Kareem in points.
That's okay. If you're asking me,
That's a lot of people's argument,
Yeah.
too. He's the all-time leading scorer
that's
in NBA
okay.
history.
That's part of his longevity. Not saying it's not Kareem, so good for him on that. But I don't know. If you ask me the GOAT conversation, he does not pass Bill Russell, like you mentioned. Most people don't realize Bill Russell's also 25-0 in must-win games. Everyone goes, "Oh, the league was different; it was smaller then."
No, it was, but
Yeah, but
that's my
25-0
argument.
in must-win games, and you're beating Wilt a couple times.
I don't think Bill Russell played in an era where, and this is why I think Wilt Chamberlain is very overrated, is because he's 7'3", and he couldn't dominate an era where he was the biggest player on the court. Bill Russell was 6'9".
Well,
He wasn't that big. Wilt Chamberlain, Bob Pettit, Bill Russell, those are the three primary centers in that era specifically, and Wilt Chamberlain only has 2 rings.
I think
That's
Wilt.
crazy to
I
me.
don't know if I want to say Wilt didn't dominate, because he did. He
did, but like
he just didn't win the overall. The main goal of
Winning
sports
is
is to win the
dominant.
Yes, the main objective is to win. So I wouldn't say he didn't not dominate. I just would say that he didn't win. But I agree with you because, like,
I think there's an argument that I've said. I don't know if I've actually said this, but I think when it's all said and done, Steph Curry will be better than LeBron James. One, because he's made more of an impact on the game. He's changed the game. All these kids coming up now are shooting from the half court. Why?
hey,
Because it's Steph Curry.
we were just doing that too long ago, playing
Yeah, I mean,
basketball,
it
just
is-
chucking up
everyone-
any three you can
Yeah,
get.
I mean, everyone's shooting the ball because of Steph Curry. And before Steph Curry, the NBA was not really 3-point oriented. Now, every single team in the NBA is ran around the 3-point shot.
You're
It
right.
doesn't
He
matter-
definitely revolutionized the game. He even
LeBron has not revolutionized.
he has
the game.
not. Curry made it where
He's great, but he has.
Yeah. Curry made it where it went from, the league changed again, went from players being big to small now. Now an average player, you could theoretically be 6 foot, 6 foot and play and
Yeah.
180 pounds, where it was very tough to do that. It's gone up and down like a pendulum. So I like that it's reverted back to, more slicks and quicks and threes. I do agree. Not yet. I have Curry in my top 10.
I think Curry's 9th all time.
I don't remember if I have 9 or 10 on my actual list, but
I had him 9th. I want to say, yeah, I had him 9th. But the thing is, like, it's at the end of the day, though, it's hard to compare eras. It's impossible
It
to
is.
compare
It's very
eras.
hard.
But I feel like if you could compare 2 eras, I feel like you could compare this era in the 90s, the easiest, because those guys could adapt to the 3-point shot. It just wasn't their style of offense then.
Correct,
Like, it's
yeah.
very low post oriented.
Like you
very
said,
going to the basket.
people said
oriented.
Jordan couldn't shoot 3, and then
He
you start
could.
doing it.
He had a deadly mid range.
Yeah, and that bothers me too, because you're right. It's easier to compare 90s to now, but people sleep on the players in the 70s too. You telling me Dr. J, if you told them all he had to do was practice shooting threes, they
Someone
weren't
said
good
that
enough.
Dr. J's ABA championships don't count. Do you agree with that?
It's not that I don't count them, but the fact that he won with the 76ers, even though he only won 1 and he wasn't the primary main guy, I count them to. I don't count them as a overall because I don't remember offhand how many he won. I think he won 6 or 7.
Who? Dr. J?
Yeah, ABA.
Dr. J won 2 ABA championships and then he won 1 NBA championship.
That's it. I thought he won a lot more.
Because he only played I think 4 years in the ABA.
Am I
His
maybe thinking
production
of
was
MVPs?
insane.
Maybe.
What's that?
Am I thinking of maybe MVPs or
Maybe
something?
MVPs. I don't know if he even won that many MVPs because when he came into the NBA, he was getting older. His numbers were just
Yes, he was
kind of
definitely a lot
declining
older. He was
bit
definitely
more.
a lot older. I recognize them. I won't say I dismiss or count them, but I recognize them. The fact that without Dr. J, there's no Michael Jordan. I mean,
Yeah, because the
everyone-
way he used his hands, like Jordan used his hands
Yeah,
just
so-
like Dr. J did. That's like
and when he was soaring high in the sky for his Air Jordan. Look up Dr. J's before that, and he's acknowledged that
he was doing the same thing.
Exactly.
And that's the thing for me when circling around to LeBron. Jordan has never once said he's the greatest player ever. Not once. But LeBron has.
Yeah,
several times.
After he beat the Warriors.
After he beat the Warriors in his third chip, he was halfway to Mike, and he goes, "That player made that made me the greatest. That one made me the greatest of all time." Like, you're just arrogant to say that. Like, you're disrespecting everyone else. Kobe never said he was the greatest ever.
I'm cool if you say it and it has merit to it. But
that's a very valuable championship. I mean, he's the first player to ever come back down 3-1 in the finals. Like, that's a great accomplishment. Everyone forgets that Draymond Green got suspended Game 5 that switched the entire momentum in that series.
Yeah, it's really funny that we're talking about that because
yesterday Kyrie hit the game winner.
Yes, yesterday on my Facebook memories, which I don't check too often, I mentioned one of my comments was that I thought the referees were really pulling for the Cavaliers, and I'm not talking about conspiracies and whether it's scripted or not, but I remember it was one of the few times that I sat there after that. I was like, okay, whatever, they won that game, and then another. I just remember sitting there. I was like, wow, every call was going the Cavaliers' way, which people kind of forget to talk about, in my opinion.
I want to talk about referees real quick because Game 5 of the NBA Finals, terrible refereeing, just absolutely atrocious. They were not giving the Heat any calls whatsoever, and guess what, Heat Nation? We were still on top.
Especially that call against Jimmy Butler with the.
Dude, yeah, that was.
I'm trying to remember who was in front of him.
That was terrible. I think it was like Porter or Gordon. I think
I was going to say Gordon. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Gordon. I was like,
I just remember the one where Jokic was like grabbing Bam, and Jokic was grabbing Bam that entire series, entire series, and they were not calling it.
See, in a weird way, I was okay with that because they were consistent. For me, for refereeing, as long as you're consistent. You call things one way, you have to call it the whole way. So at least with those two, they were consistent. Bam was grabbing a little bit too.
So what do you think? Like when NBA referees go to the replay monitor and they have to make the decision, the referee itself? Because I've talked refereeing in general in sports. I think my opinion, hockey refereeing is the best refereeing in all of sports because when you're reviewing a play, Toronto, which is the headquarters of the replay center there. They tell you what's the right call, so you don't mess it up. Mm-hmm. Like NBA referees, I feel like they don't have that. They leave it to the referee on the floor, so there's room for more error.
I agree. I did not know that about the NHL, so thanks for that. The NFL does that too when they do the challenges.
The NFL, they let the referee make the decision on the field, though.
Well, not if they do the replay and they challenge it. Then it goes up to
upstairs. Booth. Yeah.
And I think
What about challenges? That's only booth review, right?
Only booth review. So
challenges is the referee calls, I think.
Correct. So the NFL is on their way of doing that. So you're right. I didn't know the NHL did that. So I agree though. I do not like when the NBA officials, make the same call because they have the tendency, especially if you're the one watching the video, have the tendency to probably go with the same call.
I think NBA referees have the ability to sway a game for one team or the other.
Oh, all referees in almost any sport.
Sure.
I'm not saying it happens as often, but they could.
Sure. Yeah. But I feel like if you had to pick one sport where referees have the most control, it's the NBA because there's more stuff going on. It's a faster paced game. The referee, there's one call at the end of a game that can change everything.
You're right, especially in the era of basketball we're living now. I mean,
instant replay, back in the day,
you sneeze the wrong way. You sneeze the wrong way and you get fouled today.
And the flopping,
oh my goodness, guys like Trae Young. Oh man, I went from being a big fan of him. I can't stand him now. Oh, we just fall.
I feel like they're not doing anything about. I feel like Adam Silver and
I was just gonna say that
I feel like they're gonna talk about it, but this season it just didn't seem like. There were many fines coming to players that were flopping. What are you going to allow? You got to be a little more, you got to have more disciplinary action for that. And the flagrant foul thing, I don't get that either. You're throwing out a player for extending his arm.
Well, that's my whole thing, consistency. That's what drives me crazy. If they're too inconsistent And I speak of that because my father, is a referee in a lot of sports. I mean, he doesn't do basketball, but watching the games from the way he officiates and just relearning, watching from a different outlet and realizing how many, things you can be so inconsistent on or consistent, which, shout out to him. He's very consistent. He's more of a baseball guy. But that is, to me, the most important thing when officiating a game, just consistency. Yeah, I can't stress that enough. That's what drives, you and me crazy, like you said. Like, they didn't call the foul on Jimmy Butler, and then Bam was getting,
hacked,
pulled.
and then they don't call anything as a no call. I'm just like, you're sitting there just like not really understanding. Like, you feel like you could go ref the game better.
Oh,
like that's how.
100%. When it comes to a lot of the calls, yeah, I can't do any worse.
And when it comes to the finals, like, you have to have the best referees possible.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't feel like that was the case. I mean, Scott Foster's a great referee, but his calls aren't consistent. Like
exactly. I feel like game one dictates, I feel like, how you should officiate the whole, for the most part, a series. And however, if you, call this a flagrant foul, stick with that method. You call this a foul, but it's just, they're too up and down.
Like the flagrant foul when like a guy goes up and it's like an unintentional hit to the head? Like, what?
I would never call flagrant on it.
I feel like it should be intentional.
Exactly. I think if it's a natural basketball movement and it happens to hit you, tough luck. You're an athlete, play ball.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, for real.
Like, come on, you're not, working at the barbershop where someone accidentally elbowed you. Come on, you're a professional athlete. And I'm not saying I want people getting hurt or anything like that, but like, look at the game. I mean, like you said, you brought up the 90s. Look how, the Knicks used to smack people in the hands.
Physical.
It was physical. It was exciting.
Physical. And that's another debate for me.
I want that a little back a little bit. I know they won't, but I want that. That's where
when referees like let them play, people get angry. People get upset.
I'm the opposite. I love it.
I like it when they do it, but it's like to a certain extent. Like if they're getting hacked, like obviously call the foul. Like obviously call it. Like you can't just like leave it on the table and be like,
I agree, but if they were never to call on both sides, I'm like, hell yeah. Like I want that. Like when you see Bill Laimbeer, threw magic shots on the ground, and I know it's way older, but I'm like, yeah.
You remember when Kareem punched? He like got like elbowed in the stomach, and then he comes in and just windmills him.
That's like Ron Artest punched the guy and fell into the stands.
He elbowed James Harden. Do you remember that?
Yeah. That one I don't remember.
It was when he was on the Lakers and he scores a basket, and Harden's like walking, and Ron Artest goes,
"Oh yes." That's right.
He got suspended for like, I think it was like 15 games or something like that.
That
respectable.
That I would suspend for because
that's a flagrant too.
Yeah, that's different, especially in today's era. But if you're coming down for, let's say, like a rebound, you do that old school come down. I mean,
because like when you're comparing eras in 90s, like I said, 90s versus today's era, like the only thing you can't really compare is the physicality of the game. And like and this is another argument for me. I know it's like super big hypothetical. Like people are gonna say this in the comments, but you think LeBron survived with Jordan rules?
Oh, I'm so glad because I was going to bring that up. Absolutely not. He's obviously physically strong and big, but the few games, it has been many in his whole career, but the few games where he has been physically handled, he's always lost. I can't name exact specifics offhand.
Mavericks?
2011. Yeah, that was actually maybe my favorite finals of all time.
That was probably LeBron's worst series in his entire career. Yeah. But the Mavericks, I'll give them credit. They played him well.
Oh, I mean, that whole team, Dirk, Jason Terry, Jason Kidd.
Marion. Yeah,
Chandler. They all just sparked at the right time. But to answer your question, I do not think LeBron survives. I think he gets physically dominant. I think he would be mentally weak after that and not be the player
especially with
his
flopping. He flops. You're not going to get away with flopping back then.
Look at the game when he's going ballistic with the referees for the call.
I'm a Heat fan, guys, and I remember sitting in Indiana watching the conference finals, and LeBron goes, when no one touched his face. No one touched him. I mean, the biggest guy on the court goes flying into the stands.
Look at I want to say it was like 2007, 2008 All-Star when the East and West, when Kobe was D'ing him up. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And Kobe blocked him like 3 or 4 times, guy in his face. And LeBron, obviously, bigger, stronger than Kobe. But Kobe showed him that old school, and without doing the rough physicality. I mean, he was playing squad up defense. I don't think he's handling that era, no doubt.
No.
I think Bill Lambier, who anytime I think of physicality, I think of Bill Lambier from the Bad Boys.
I've actually seen Bill Lambier. Where I actually used to live, I saw him at a grocery store. He's like,
Really?
he was walking around, and
That's a bad
he
man
was
right there.
he was a big dude, and he still looks like he was a mean
Yeah.
piston, man. Like he still looks like he can throw. He still looks like he's like.
Don't want to take that guy's last can of SpaghettiOs. You
No.
can have it at the grocery.
And do not mention Jordan.
Oh, I can imagine. But I think Bill Lambier would have dominated and destroyed LeBron and just went out of his way to show him, like, little boy. Like
You're getting
Yeah.
shoved to the because like the Jordan if you guys aren't familiar with Jordan rules, every time Jordan goes to the basket, you're
Pounce
putting
him.
him to the ground.
literally slam him to
Literally.
the ground. Doesn't matter what player, who it is, whoever's up in the air with him, or even after. There were times when
They said when he was in the air, you kind of were
yeah,
held at gunpoint there. You couldn't really do
well,
anything
that's what I'm
about
saying.
it. But
Once he landed, except
when
Bill
before
Lambier,
he
was
goes
the one-
up, you
Yeah.
hit him. Just
Mhm.
hit him. That's just like crazy now. Like
Yeah.
if that's like bounty gate in the NBA. If you got a team doing that,
Well, I mean, they did that to Brett Favre in the the Saints. That's why I hate the Saints. Screw them. Yeah.
All right, dude. I got one more question for both of us before I close this out.
Okay.
Early predictions here.
Ooh.
Who do you think is going to be in the NBA Finals next season?
Wow.
Go.
I haven't even thought of that. Oh, put me in the hot seat. Okay. I will say, wow.
With no like free agent signings yet.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Free agency starts June 30th, so we're not going to
About
really
9
know
days
which
away
team.
from now. I will say, I'm going to say Miami Heat. I think they're bounce back. And I will say, who from the West? I mean,
That's tough.
I know. I hate to say a repeat, and I feel bad. Maybe I'm giving a crappy answer. I was not expecting to answer that. I haven't even thought about that, but I can't think of anyone really dominant in the West. I gotta go. And I know I'm wrong. 'Cause I know as good as the Nuggets are, I do not think the Nuggets are coming back. I don't think they are. I think they have potential, but I don't think they are. But as of right now, so next time, if I get lucky enough to come back on your show, I will give you a better answer. But I'll go a rematch for now.
Rematch for now?
Nuggets Heat. What about you?
Here's my answer. Heat are coming out of the East.
Okay.
We got to wrap Heat
Let's
Nation.
go. Look at that jersey.
And then Mr. Kyrie Irving is going to go to the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Lakers are going to be in the NBA Finals.
Okay. I'm a Lakers fan, and I like Kyrie, even though I'll explain that later. I can't root for my Lakers because I've been, real quick, I've been shitting on LeBron James, and I'd be the biggest hypocrite. So the moment he came on my team, I'm like, well, I can't root for my team because I'd rather go down as an idiot than a hypocrite. So I hope that doesn't happen. And you know what I'm saying? You know how hard it was to watch my team in the finals and rooting for your team? First time ever. But I don't think that will
Hey,
happen.
to be fair, we went through it. You guys beat us. So.
Oh, that was one of the best performances I've ever seen by a player. A player that lost the finals, Jimmy Butler, that series was an animal. I thought he was going to be like that this series.
And Tyler Hero, too.
Oh, yeah, the guy you want to get rid of?
But the only reason I say we should get rid of him is because he's a big trade asset. He has a lot of value. Like hypothetically, we put Tyler Hero,
Okay.
2 second-round picks, send it over to Portland, give him a phone call. Hey, we want Damian Lillard. You
Wait,
don't think the
Tyler
Blazers
Hero
are going to
and
take that trade?
Tyler Hero and 2.
Go into complete rebuild mode that they're already in. They just have Dame sitting in the middle of it.
Yeah. I mean, that would be phenomenal.
I feel like that's a
want
great
to see
trade.
Damian Lillard win a championship on almost any team.
But he's not going to win a championship in Portland. That is the
No.
facts.
I think he understands it too. And
He's talking about his future like he's going to leave. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like he's entertaining all these other teams.
I think he's talking about his future just to see how the Portland media, because he feels about him. I think he's one of the few players that is given so much to a city that they're almost okay with him leaving. Exception, like, don't go to a rivalry team. Like when LeBron, I'm not that the Heat were rivalry, but when LeBron left Cleveland, he was still so young and early in his career. I mean, how long has Dame been with the Trailblazers now?
He's been with them his whole career. He was
Yeah.
drafted in 2011, so
Yeah.
he's been
Oh.
there all 12, 13
So
years
it's been
of his
a long
career.
time now. So he's given it enough. It's not like when LeBron left Cleveland. It was what, like 6-7 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Dame hasn't been to a conference finals either. Sorry about that, guys. So there was a video issue with the podcast that we lost the last part of the podcast, but I wanted to go ahead and give my boy Mike a quick shout out. Appreciate you being on the podcast. Go check out his podcast in my description. It's called SMK Sports. It's available on Spotify. Go stay tuned for that. But I appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. Once again, I appreciate the support. Go subscribe, like, and comment what you guys think. And share the video as well. I want to get as many people going as you can. So thank you guys again. I'm Jackson Burleson. Appreciate you guys.
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me nice. I'm from another world, baby, yeah. Broadway paradise. They think I'm way too cold, cause I put my heart up on ice.